2.
Welcome, everyone, to another edition of Stepping Up to the Plate. So glad you could join us. I'm your host, Michael Vega. Glad to be joined here on the dais with my main man, Al Prizzuti, to discuss all things sports here in Milton and in New England. And first, we want to give a shout out to the Milton High football team and wish them well as they begin their postseason run here against a familiar team that they played last year here at home at Brooks Field, and that's the Minnesota Eagles. It's going to be an interesting matchup for Milton, coming off their third consecutive loss in a tough battle against Natick. Came down to the end, an Aiden Raleigh kick that looked like it went through the uprights, but upon further review, it just missed. I think wide to the left a little bit, but you want to give a hats off to Milton for fighting as long and as hard as they did in that game. And hopefully that the postseason will give them a revival of sorts. And this team that they faced before, they dominated. That's when last year Jack Finnegan scored like 24 consecutive points against them. So it was an unbelievable performance by that young man who's now at St. Lawrence. So we want to give a shout out and remind everyone it's going to be Friday at 7 o'clock. I believe it's going to be the MIA postseason. You might want to check how to get the tickets. You want to probably go onto the Milton High website to check what the protocol is for that. I believe that Milton Access TV will have the broadcast with young Mr. Jackson Lang handling the call. So we want to give him a shout out, doing a great job, Jackson. And so we hope to see you all there and be loud and be proud. And, Al, I think with all that's going on now, there's so much to be hopeful for right now with the Bruins going great, the Celtics going great in the early start, excited about those two teams, but concerns right now about the Patriots, another tough loss that they took.
Patriots, the Red Sox, and the Revolution.
Yeah. Well, we got to look, too, at the extenuating circumstances right now involved in the Patriots' kind of slow demise this year, 2-6. Bill Belichick has never been in this situation, I don't think, at least here in New England that we can recall. It's a tough thing. With each loss, it seems like the clamor grows more and more fervent for him to either relinquish GM duties or to consider stepping down. And I ask you, is this the demise of the Patriot way?
I don't think so. I think he's playing with three-quarters of a deck. I don't think he's had a full deck all season long.
Yeah.
And it's hard to plug the holes that they knew they had last year. And then to have significant injuries that they've had this year. Don't forget, they've lost on the defensive side, a cornerback who was their top player. You lost
Christian Gonzalez. Yep.
Yeah. I mean, so now they lose Bourne, the receiver.
Who was their top receiver?
Top receiver.
Yeah.
So I think there's extenuating circumstances. The problem is that they don't have a stalwart that can rally the team. Jones can't do that.
No.
He's
Clearly.
either too young, inexperienced, or maybe
Hasn't done
not
it.
good enough.
Yeah, hasn't done it.
Maybe not good enough. So
Yeah.
I think the Patriots actually should have been sellers yesterday. And then to say who would have bought him, I think Ezekiel Elliott was somebody.
Well,
that
he's
they
a
were
trade.
looking
He
at.
might have been a trade chip, but
And there's a couple of guys on that team that they could have looked at. He's going to have to go and get somebody for next year, and they got to play for next year because it's over. For all
no
intents
doubt.
and purposes.
Oh,
it's
no
over.
doubt. I mean, everybody right now realizes that this season is beyond.
Yeah,
it's
hard to
they're in
even-
an irretrievable tailspin right now.
It's hard to even spend a lot of time talking about them. I even watching them because I watch, and by this maybe second period, you say they don't have a chance.
And it's funny. I was listening to the broadcast as I was driving my son Noel back to school on Sunday and his friend Mia Gilmore. We had a nice time going back to Amherst, and I was listening, and you can hear the exasperation in like the guys who are calling the game. You can hear the exasperation in their voice. And what I think they're doing, it's just a reflection of the exasperation that the rest of us, amongst the fandom, are feeling as well. And the thing about Zolak, he calls a spade a spade.
Oh, that's for sure.
Oh my God. He was like killing Mac Jones on that pick that he threw across and he says, that's a ball game.
Fourier does the same
That's
thing.
a ball game.
I hate to say it, but Fourier does the same thing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they know that you've got to be accountable.
Yeah. Look, it's very difficult to watch. If you watch that game the other day, I mean, he throws the ball again.
Right.
I mean, how does he not see the cornerback of
Jalen Ramsey peeling back.
coming back? I mean, the pass wasn't fast enough. He doesn't have any mustard on the ball.
Good point, Al.
I mean, if you got a guy who gets it away quickly and rifles it in, that's a pass that's completed. And he just doesn't have it. I mean, I hate to be down on him, but
I'm wondering if this is a physical thing that he's hiding right now. If he's nicked up, if he's got some kind of maybe a partial tear that he's like dealing with, that's preventing him from putting that zip on the ball that a quarterback needs to put on a pass, that particular type of pass.
I'll be honest with you.
But here's the thing I have a problem with. It's the decision making, Al.
Yeah, he doesn't.
It's the decision making. It's the decision that he made to pull the trigger on that pass. You've got to be able to understand, I'm making a pass across the grain, and if I don't make it a hot pass, it's going to get picked.
But you got to notice one thing: he doesn't see the field. Do you notice that the kid that cut across going like this, all alone in the end zone?
Again, it's like he is so myopic in his view of the defense and doesn't see the spaces that you have to have like a broader view.
He is very lucky that there are other extenuating circumstances that can say it's not all his fault. He's lucky with that.
Well,
because even if it wasn't that,
patchwork offensive line,
he's not a leader.
They don't have a lot of talent not right now. And here's the other thing too. And I agree with you in that sense that it's not all his fault, but sometimes a quarterback gets too much of the blame and too much of the credit, right?
Yeah, there's no question.
Well, in this instance, why did they not surround him with better talent? You went out and got Juju Smith-Schuster, right?
He was somebody that the team.
He was activated for that game, and they didn't play him until the fourth quarter, until they were down to the nub. They were down to the nub. They had lost Devontae Parker. They had Kendrick Bourne go out. And now, fourth quarter, they're trying to get something going against the Dolphins, and they're down against the nub. They're down to the nub. And they can't get him on the field? So my question, who in the world made the decision to activate him?
But that's not Jones.
No, that's not. That's what I'm saying. That's not him. That is on the coaching staff. That's on Bill Belichick, the guy who says, okay, these are my 53 guys. And I'm going to take Schuster, but I'm not going to play him if I don't have to.
Look, it's obvious the kid can't throw deep. He can't throw deep. No. So you need to have more plays that are
tight end, short control, intermediate passing game.
Exactly.
Okay, so you telegraph that, Al. A team's going to figure that out. A defense going to figure that out. It'll take them a quarter to figure it out.
They will, but then you need to then.
And they're going to walk up their safeties because they know this guy's not going to throw it over our heads.
You can do a lot of things. I mean, if a team is coming at you, okay, then you can a good quarterback would have his backs out.
Yes.
Okay, and he just throws it over these guys.
Wheel
he
route.
doesn't.
Yeah. They've got to utilize Ezekiel Elliott and Ramondre Stevenson better.
I would run Stevenson all day at the start, and then go to Ezekiel because they'll key on him. Then you run him the other way. You got him going both ways, and then you got to use the tight ends. You just have to because he can't throw the ball long.
So now they got to scheme up something, because now they're going to be hamstrung. You don't know what you're going to get from Devontae Parker, and then of course Kendrick Bourne, the huge loss, And now, Bill O'Brien was saying, well, everyone else is going to have to step up because you can't replace
Yeah, well.
a Kendrick Bourne with one guy.
They got less
You know.
of talented teams now that they're playing.
Well,
so
and that was
less.
evident, clearly evident against the Dolphins.
Yeah.
They had all-world speed at their receiving core.
Yeah.
Guys who ran away from the defenders.
Well, you take away a couple of the stupid plays, you take away at least 7 points.
Yeah.
It's 24-17.
Yeah.
That's only a touchdown away.
Right.
But they always do.
And that
penalties,
and that pick six was like the killer.
They're huge, but
Killer.
penalties,
Turnovers.
which never happened with the Patriots before. The turnovers. So they're doing all the things that bad teams do.
Right.
And you know what?
So why should we expect a different result every week?
You're not. I mean, that's the other thing. I
Yeah.
mean, let's not be. I think Fourier said it best. The season's over. No, for all intents and purposes,
It
it's
sure
over.
is, Al.
And you need to be playing for next year. I think Belichick is safe because I think they all understand.
Well,
Everybody
he's safe because he's got a multi-year contract now.
Well, I mean, he's safe. Remember, you can always.
Well, I don't know. What do you think? Did they buy him out or?
No, you could always do that, but they're not going to do that. Look at the guy who's given them everything for how many years he's been here, and he's had really two bad years.
I think a reimagination of the Patriot way has to be done here in Foxborough. Certainly, it didn't work for Josh McDaniels or Dave Ziegler out in Las Vegas, both of whom lost their jobs in the wee hours of
Josh
Wednesday
back
morning here. It's already on the chat boards and stuff that people are like, oh, they're going to bring him back. They're going to fire O'Brien. Oh, no, they should bring him back as a quarterback coach. Have him manage Mac.
Yeah, I don't think they'll fire O'Brien. What they will do, though,
they'll probably bring him back. Yeah.
Coach.
And here's the thing: maybe they bring back Ziegler to make him the GM, and let Bill just handle the X's and O's.
There's some
the
intel
management.
here that he might say to them, "Look at Garoppolo's available."
Well, Garoppolo wasn't the answer there.
But he's better than what we've got.
Yeah, but he's been
Better,
banged up.
better than what we have.
Well,
I mean,
at
if you
least,
think about
at least
if Jones goes
I wouldn't
down,
go. Really, here's a guy I would target on that team: Davante Adams.
Yeah, but
Give me Davante Adams.
they need a quarterback. They need a quarterback.
Oh, no doubt, no doubt.
And here's what I'm saying: if Jones goes down next week, hurt, who they put in?
Well, they got Malik Cunningham on the practice squad.
Well, you got Malik, and then who do you run? Malik, Stevenson,
Bailey
Elliott.
Zappi.
So
Right.
what I'm saying is they need somebody that can throw the ball. Garoppolo can throw the ball, and I think in a right scheme, he's he's clearly better than Jones.
You know who that guy was last year? You know who that guy was? He's playing right now for another team. He's actually playing in Las Vegas right now.
Oh, well.
Unbelievable.
So much time spent on a team that is not going anywhere.
And now hope springs eternal for the Red Sox. I don't think we discussed this. Who went out and hired Craig Breslow, former relief pitcher for the Red Sox, who had some experience with the World Series teams. What do you think that's going to do?
Nothing.
That's going to move the masses?
No, because you got to understand: is it going to be Breslow or is it going to be Cora? If it's Cora, it's over, because he's running the show. Breslow might be that he's an intellectual guy.
Correct.
That's what they say.
Yeah. Who melds the metrics and everything?
Who's going to be the guy that finally said, "Look at Chaim Bloom and Cora were probably
at odds
like this."
Yes, that was never more evident than late in the season when their bullpen was taxed.
So,
and he brought up this guy.
Who
from
was
Worcester.
the guy that brought Chaim Bloom in? Probably either Sam Kennedy.
Yeah.
So if Kennedy brought in Breslow, and I think what happened here was Epstein was the guy who said, "You got to get this kid.
Yeah.
This kid's smart. He knows what he's
And he'll
doing."
work with Alex Cora.
And let's hope he works with Alex Cora, because Cora was running the show.
Well, he had
he had odds with Chaim Bloom. Knew Chaim Bloom was going to go. So I think we got to wait and see what.
And you remember that episode that he had with Verdugo?
Yeah.
Where Cora said, "This is the worst day I've had in my." I'm wondering if he had any support from Bloom in that.
He might not have.
Right.
You know,
And I think Cora was going to Bloom saying, we got to get rid of this guy.
Verdugo's up for
We got to get rid of this guy. You got to trade this
glove,
guy.
You know, I
Huh?
mean, he's up for a Gold Glove. I mean, he how
You
many
think
votes
that
he'll
keeps
get?
him here?
Well, he's not a bad ball player. I mean, if you look at the Red Sox and say, put from 1 to 10, he's definitely one of the top 5 players on that team. Duvall's going to go on the other kid that I like, who was the best player that they had, the Dodger there.
Justin Turner.
He's gone. He's gone.
You know,
He's 38.
why they get Kyle Schwarber here? Gone. You know,
Schwarber hit 190. He hit 40-something home runs.
I'll take that.
Well,
Either swing or miss, man.
we got a
Hit or
million
miss.
of those guys.
Yeah, you know, but
So
and now you have
I-
the Rangers now 1 game away from winning the World Series. You want to see the Rangers?
I
do it.
wanted to see the
I want to see
Rangers.
Nate Eovaldi win.
I want to see him pitch the winning game.
Yes.
That's what
Do
would
you
be-
think he gives up the ball at all tonight?
No.
No, I don't either.
I mean, Eovaldi's got, you know, for all the injuries that he's had, he's got a rubber arm. He pitches, he likes to go 6, 7 innings.
Yeah.
He's a strikeout pitcher.
So if he gets like a couple of efficient 1, 2, 3 innings, that's going to stretch him.
Oh, yeah.
You know, so that bodes well for and you know, the Rangers were hit with tough news right before Game 4
Well,
when
who's
they
the
found
GM
out
in Philly, incidentally?
Samfold. Yeah. There's a guy that they were looking at. I think
So,
I don't know.
you
I don't know. But
I think we took the only guy who wanted to come here.
yeah, everyone
Anyways,
was bailing
look
on
at-
it. Everyone was bailing on the job.
We've got about 10 or so minutes.
But let's
talk about the
pivot to the
Bruins.
Bruins.
Let me just say one thing about the Bruins.
Yes, sir.
So I got to give credit to Montgomery because even though I think the start of the season is never an indicator of what's going to happen at the end of the season, I will say this: he's got him off to 8-0-1.
Right.
Okay. The 2 things that are troublesome for this team, though, is defensive mistakes, getting out of the zone, still
Getting
a
out
problem
of the
for
zone.
them.
Yep.
And the power play stinks right now.
Right.
Okay. What's keeping them in the game is they're a very good checking team, and the defense.
Penalty kill.
There's the special teams other than power play.
Penalty kill.
Penalty killing is
Al,
supreme.
no greater example of that than in the most recent win, a 3-2 win. Was it against Anaheim, right?
Yeah.
And it was unbelievable win. Oh, no, Panthers. It was the Panthers. Panthers.
Well,
What
you
am I
watched
saying?
that game the other night. The
Yeah.
Panthers outplayed them in the first period, up 2-0. And I think everybody, including myself, was saying, here we go again. Maybe
Right.
the Panthers have either got their number,
Right.
or they play well against the Bruins, or they're a better team.
Right.
Now, here's where I give Montgomery or whoever credit, because it could be the whole coaching staff. They go into at the end of the first period, they come out, they played a much better second period and a much better third period.
Yeah.
Now, Marchand's goal was just lucky. That
Oh
thing
my
just-
God, he
that-
hit it out the toe of the blade
Well, that
there.
trickled in.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
the
because
goalie
he
didn't even know
whiffed
it
on
was
it.
going by. I mean, that looked like slow-mo.
It was.
I mean, but on 3-on-3, the Panthers had the puck the whole time.
Yes.
Which
They
is not a
possessed it.
good thing.
They possessed it.
And then Zaka coming in. Zaka,
Oh.
I think the guy made a mistake on that. And I did think that Ullman missed the first one completely. I mean, that was an easy shot.
Yeah.
Just guy breaks in and goes right under his glove.
Yeah.
That was his fault. But they got a big game coming up against Toronto.
Yes.
And here's the problem. You've got McAvoy out for 4.
Grizzly
You
out.
got Grizzlick out. So they're going to bring 2 kids up, 1 or 2. They either bring up Laurie, who's never played a game.
They're gonna have to-
incidentally.
and this
never
kid Ian
played
Mitchell,
a game
too?
in the NHL.
Yeah.
Mitchell.
Yeah.
My guess is Mitchell will play more minutes than Laurie.
Yeah.
Okay, he's been around. He knows a little more about what needs to get done. I think they made some good moves, though. Shattenkirk is decent on defense. And I think Van Riemsdyk is bigger than I thought he was, and he's much more of a physical player and around the goal.
And then you've got
he's a goal
Carlo
scorer.
and Lindholm.
He's got over 300 goals in his career.
Forbert.
I think Brandon Carlo's been next to McAvoy. McAvoy is a cut above everybody, their best defenseman.
Yeah.
And I think Lindholm has made more mistakes in the last 5 games in the playoffs last year. I know he was hurt. And so far this year, he hasn't been stellar.
No, he's not been strong on the puck as he has been when he first
The guys
got here.
that show me a lot, though, other than Pasta, Marchand is very difficult to cover.
Yeah.
I mean, he's all over the place.
Patras
he back
too.
checks. He does everything. I think
Zaka.
Zaka, sometimes you lose him. You don't know where he is. I mean, you don't lose Pasta. You don't lose Marchand.
Yeah.
This kid Beecher showing me a lot because he plays on the penalty kill.
Yes.
And he's a skater.
Oh.
And he's a big kid.
No doubt. Yeah.
So I think that's a pretty good thing. Oscar Steen, I hope they keep this kid around because you know what? He's got a lot going for him. I know what's his name, Heinen.
Heinen got the contract.
He got the contract, and he's been around. He's 7 years in the league, and he played with at Denver with Montgomery.
Yeah.
So there's
some history.
Yeah, there's history. I don't think they're an 8. Well, they're an 8-0 team right now. I don't think this team is as good as their record.
Yeah,
I don't think they've been playing as good as their record. That other game that they
the loss they took against Anaheim in overtime 4-3 was
against
atrocious.
a lousy team.
Atrocious.
Against
Atrocious.
a lousy team.
You had a big lead going into the fourth period, I think, and they totally took their foot off the gas.
They fumbled around their net.
Yeah.
They couldn't clear the puck.
Oh my
Lindholm
God!
was
That was
involved in one of them.
More infuriating than anything was the inability to clear the puck.
So if you notice one thing, Brandon Carlo has been a little more physical than I've seen him.
Yeah.
I mean, he's more intimidating looking. When he goes at guys, he pulls away. He doesn't get in fights, which is a good thing. But
Right. Well, you know what? I bet you that's what Toronto's going to come in here and try and engage these guys and maybe get some of the defensemen, to get them out of the game in order to kind of whittle away at the right now it's a vulnerability for the Bruins.
McAvoy hitting the guy the other night.
Oliver
he was
Ekman-Larsson. Yeah.
huge. He was deep in the zone. He's
Yes.
a defenseman. He's not a forward.
Yeah.
If you notice, he was right in front of the net when he hit the kid.
Right.
So.
So he was far afield from his ordinary position.
Losing
standing
him
on the wall. Yeah.
is as big as losing Bergeron on the draws.
Yeah.
I think Bergeron was on the back nine, so to speak. He wasn't the same player he was 5 years ago. But losing him, he still was a 60% guy on the draw. Losing McAvoy, you lose your best defenseman for 4 games. And they've got Toronto, they got Detroit, they've got the Islanders, and they got one other team in there that's pretty good.
The Stars.
Dallas. So they got
Detroit,
4
Dallas,
good teams.
Yeah. Islanders, and then they play Montreal.
If
and that's
they
when
do 2-2.
I think Montreal is when he's due back at Montreal on the 11th.
If they do 2-2,
Yeah.
I think that they will feel comfortable in getting McAvoy back and winning 2 and losing 2.
Yeah, it's a wash.
I hope they beat Toronto because Toronto's trying to set a precedent that says we're the best team in the league.
Right. Yeah.
And to come into Boston, even if the Bruins are a little short-handed, I think would be a problem. But anyways, and then, flipping over to the
Celtics.
I mean,
what's not to like, Al?
Well, I see, again, I look at the team that they played, Washington the other night.
They obliterated them, yeah.
I mean, I think
that's what they got to do
we
to
were
teams
sharing
like that.
text. You asked me what I was watching. I said, I'm watching the Bruins first, I'm watching the Celtics second, and I'm watching Jeopardy. And I was flipping stations. The only reason I watched Jeopardy was because the Celtics in the first grade, they're up by 30.
I love it.
That's over.
I love it. And then I turned my attention to and you had game 2 of the World Series, game 3 of the World Series.
Yeah.
Going on at that time, and
I like watching baseball though. I've always been a baseball fan, so it doesn't matter to me who's playing. I like to watch how teams.
I think more
play.
people will be watching tonight to see the Rangers try and clinch. But yeah, I was entertained by watching the Celtics. I mean, how could you not be?
I'm more entertained watching the Celtics to see how they fit.
Yes.
Because they've got 5 guys actually, 4 of them are all-stars, and how they play. Now, last night, Brown was the player. I mean, he just couldn't miss.
Right.
But then Jason Tatum in the 3rd and 4th period was the player.
Yeah.
I mean, he took over and he scored.
And then they went and sat down and let their bench come in. And they got a little careless, and a 34-point lead got whittled to like 19. And
That's play money.
right.
You know.
But it's but what I like, Al, what I like are the possibilities that are before this team. What I like is that by going out and getting one guy, two guys, Porzingis and then Drew Holiday, how they just immediately leapfrogged or vaulted into the conversation once again. Because after Damian Lillard was acquired by the Bucks, everyone thought, okay, the Bucks are going to be the odds-on favorite to win in the East.
I think the interesting thing, though, is that contrary to what happened with the Patriots, players, the coaches leave and players
Harden
leave.
leaving James Harden?
Well, the Celtics lose. Brogdon had started the games that started his season out there playing very well.
Yeah.
Marcus Smart, very well. All of the guys that they've lost
Are doing good.
are doing really good.
What does that tell you about the guys they gave up? They were good players.
So what I think is
That's what made this deal swing,
The Celtics are deep.
Yeah,
And, that I think they could have won and should have won in the last 2 years. Could have.
no doubt.
They didn't.
Yeah.
I think they've always had a problem on the big guy, and the big guy is going to help them.
Oh, no doubt.
I mean,
he's
can
a
do
rim
everything.
protector, but he's
a
not.
shooter,
But he's not one dimensional.
No,
he can do it on the court on both ends of the
He can
floor.
pass. He can shoot. He's a big
He
Larry
can block
Bird.
shots. It's unbelievable what he brings to the team and how he makes everyone else better. They kick it to him, he kicks it to them. And then they are building a bond. You can see that.
Oh yeah.
They're building this bond. And
Winning creates a bond.
Yes.
It's losing fractures teams.
Yes.
Because everybody's
And
pointing a finger.
it's funny. We're seeing that right now, maybe to some extent in Foxborough, and we're seeing how teams are coming together at TD Garden, in the Celtics locker room, and the Bruins locker room.
Well, they should stop the interviews with the Patriots this year because Belichick
Says
is a
nothing.
disgrace.
Yeah.
Andrews comes up and says the same thing. And Jones. Well, we got to look at the film.
And we got to get.
We
better.
just got to do. I got to do
gotta
better.
coach better, we gotta
It's
play
not
better.
this. You can't point your fingers. I got to do better. It's a joke.
Right.
It's a joke. But
At some point, they're going to just stop sending people to the podium.
I still think that, and this is strange because I was more of a Celtic fan. I've always been a Bruins-based Red Sox fan, and I was a Celtics fan, a huge Celtics fan for a lot of years. I'm less of a basketball fan now
Really?
than I've ever been. But, and I will say this, if you watch both games,
Yeah.
there is nothing better than watching a tie that goes into overtime, 3-on-3, and then having
In hockey,
the other team
yeah.
control it, and then Zaka coming down and scoring a goal. And as much as I think Edwards is on the back nine also,
Yeah.
he called that and he yells it. So anyways,
good.
it's great
That's
to watch.
good. Well, we love it all, and we want to thank you all for spending your time here with us and indulging us here with some sports talk here on Stepping Up to the Plate. All righty, everybody. We'll look for you next time. All right, take care.